Hello everyone, in this example I'm going to show you how to program a Raspberry Pi Pico to read data from a DHT22 and environmental sensor and submit or publish the data to a central MQTT broker. Now here's a diagram that shows you how to connect the sensor to the Pico. The sensor had 3 pins: the power pins, the ground pins, and the data pins, which is in green. Now the power pins will need to go to the power pins of Pico, and similarly the ground pins will go to the ground pins of the sensor. And in this example, I'm using pin general IO 28 to read data from the sensor. Now let's have a look. Let's have a look at the code. In this code, the first thing we are going to do is to import a number of libraries that we will need to use. The network libraries would allow us to trigger or activate the wireless interface of the Pico and connect it to a wireless network. The time basically allows us to control the sleep time of the sensor. The machine libraries, we only use the pin class to control some of the pins of the Pico. And the DHT libraries, that's the library provided to us to read data from the DHT22 sensor. Now we using JSONs to actually formulate the sensor data in the JSON format, and finally the MQTT simple libraries implement the MQTT client that allow us to connect the Pico to the central MQTT broker. The first thing we in this code that we do is we actually connect the Pico to the Wi-Fi network, and the name of the Wi-Fi network is what we guessed because we're running in the system in the Walkway environment simulation environment, right? If you're going to implement a real physical device, then you will need to change these parameters to connect to your Wi-Fi network, right? And what we guessed is the open network, so we don't have any password here. But in case if you connect to your network, you might need to put the password, the Wi-Fi, the Wi-Fi key that you will need to connect the device to the Wi-Fi network, right? Now the next thing in this code that you can see is we define specify a number of parameters that we would need for the client to connect to the service. So with the client ID is a unique string that represent this Pico, and I'm using Pico W01, but you can replace with a unique string that represent your device name. Now with the MQTT broker, this is the address of the broker, and if you already register the service with Hives, then when you go to your cluster, you will get the URL to your broker service, right? And you can simply copy it from this management console and put it in the MQTT broker address, right? With the MQTT username and password, that's the password that you create in your cluster. Go to access management, that's the password that you create to manage to allow the device to access your service, right? Here I'm creating 2 accounts for accessing this service, and I'm using the user 2023 in this example, right? So this is a username and the password, and with the topic then I choose walkway weather as a topic to publish the weather data to. But you can change to a topic name that suits your application, right? After I've defined all the parameters for the client, then what we can do is we can call the client connect to actually connect the server to the client, the Pico to the service, right? And if we can successfully connect to the service, then um, we can start to read data from the sensor and publish the data to the MQTT server, right? So in this code, we don't want to publish every time that we read data from the sensor. We only want to publish to the broker only when we can when there's a change in the temperature or humidity, right? So the first thing here we do is we try to read from the sensor, and then we formulate the data as a JSON format, in JSON format, with the two key, temperature and humidity, right? And then we perform the check. If the data that we read different to the previous data, then we publish the data to the MQTT service, right? Now, to demonstrate that the program actually works, then we can, I will hit the simulations, start the simulation. Will take a little while, and the system will start by connecting the Pico to the Wi-Fi. Right. So this code is running, yeah, and it's printed out while it's waiting for the connection. While Wi-Fi is connected, now it's connecting to the MQTT server, right? And it will take a little while to connect to the MQTT server, so be patient. Sometimes it happens really quick, but sometimes it will have a little bit of delay. It is because of like a simulation. So you can see now the clients connect to the broker, and it will publish the first message, and then if there's no change in the temperatures or humidities, basically the code will not publish anything to the server, right? So to check, I actually have the clients installed in here, right? So this MQTT client connect to my service and subscribe to the walkway weather topic. And now if I can change if I actually publish some things to the server, right? So minimize it to basically show you a little bit, right, about this. And now I can change the humidity, and as I change the humidity, you will see that the client won't actually connect to it, and at this moment is no connections. I think it's because we have not connected to, so we need to connect it first, right? Okay, now it's connected, and now if I've changed something, you will see the topic is submitted, right? The temperature is now at minus 3.5 and the humidity is 73%. If we change this, you will see another message will go, and then now humidity is 34, right? So the system is working. So that's how you connect your Pico to the MQTT servers.